Tiff Wright Writes presents A Deep-Fried Black Sheep Thanksgiving, a fan fiction short story inspired by the lyrics of The Animals by Emily King. Everybody thank Cousin Denise for your custom costumes, her first cousin Charlotte enthusiastically instructed in the video clip. Denise watched the rest of the thank you video text her cousin sent with mixed emotions. She was filled with joy at the happy faces of her second cousins that felt more like nieces who couldn't be more adorable in their Little Mermaid and Princess Tiana costumes. Conversely, she also grimaced at the faux grateful energy of Charlotte, who at the time of informing her, no, demanding from her the money for these costumes, didn't seem grateful at all. She, in fact, acted as if she was entitled to it. The financial request from not just Charlotte, but her cousin, godmother, uncle, and grandmother this Halloween had certainly opened her eyes to the fact that she had created monsters. Her mind trailed back to the voice note from Charlotte. Hey Denise, so you know Halloween is coming up. Your baby cousins have been doing so good in school, so I figured it would be a perfect time to spoil them with an extra special Halloween. I found this lady on Instagram that makes custom costumes. $200 each was, of course, nothing for you, big money. Also, I booked a makeup artist as well as a photographer to do a little photo shoot before they leave the house. I know you love spoiling them, so if you send about $800, that should cover it. No, actually $1,000 for tips and incidentals. I already told them it was their big cousin's treat, so I know you don't want to let them down. If you could send it ASAP, the photographer wants a deposit before the end of the day. Toodles, and you're the best cousin ever. She remembered thinking that was a little lavish just for Halloween. But every time she hesitated and was thinking about saying no or offering less than what was asked, she couldn't find a reason that was deemed good enough. Thanks to the patent on the invention she had been working on the last 5 years, money wasn't an issue. So it always felt like boundaries were petty and selfish. She always felt guilty saying no when she could easily say yes. She didn't like to stir the pot, and she was getting along with her family so well now. It was so much better than before when she was considered the black sheep. Being the blurred of the family, the late bloomer and the dreamer came with a lot of shame. No one had anything in common with her. She was the easiest target amongst the older generation when it was time to be questioned about her future plans. Not only was she a late bloomer when it came to life milestones like marriage and children, but it was hard to explain the long game of being an inventor. That led to her being called everything from lazy to arrogant and even a little off. She would attempt to defend herself by saying, I prefer the word eccentric. They would just laugh harder. But when the money from the patent came in, everything fell into place. Everyone understood her. It felt like she finally had their respect. And the marker and proof for her success was, well, gifts. If they ate out, it was her treat. If anyone needed a little extra, she gave it without question. Lately, though, it had went from things that everyone needed to things they wanted. Instead of being called or texted with a request, she would get random invoices and P2P app requests. If they went out, she didn't get to offer that the bill would be on her. The server would ask, and they would say, she's paying for it. And they started ordering bigger and bigger ticket items, and sometimes even a whole separate meal to go. The thank yous became less and less, and she just smiled. She allowed it. These were the thoughts that plagued her as she opened her laptop, preparing for a video call with a therapist. This would be her first time, and she was only going at the recommendation of her money manager, a middle-aged, copper-skinned Georgia native named Renee. Reviewing her monthly expenses revealed an increase of $12,000 on the friends and family line item for the month of October. Were these emergencies, business investments, or just gifts? Renee asked. And I'm only asking because when we first established your budgets and you wanted to be flagged when you went over a certain amount on any line items, especially now that you want to start getting more into items being moved into the investment line item. I had been so busy saying yes, I didn't realize how much more I spent. She asked me if I wanted to increase that line item, and I said no. But the thought of actually doing it gave me anxiety. She must have sensed it because she wordlessly patted my hand and gave me this phone number to call. A deep chocolate brown rugged face filled the screen, bringing me out of my thoughts and back to the present. My therapist was a kind-eyed stunner named Ryan. "Hello, Denise." His voice boomed through my Bluetooth. "So, what brings you to a counseling session today?" Well, Denise took to counseling like a fish to water because she spilled her guts. She told him everything from her past dynamics with family to her most recent accomplishments and all the financial choices that she has made and her current crossroads. He gave her a lot to think about, and he hit her with a question that made her fall back in her chair. "What do you think would happen if you said no? Do you fear they would love you less?" She knew there was a problem when she couldn't answer that. It wasn't so much as she thought they'd love her less. It was the fact that she felt like they would treat her differently. She would go back to black sheep land.